12 minutes before 8 o'clock, 16 degrees in Fredericton right now. You're listening to Information Morning, 99.5 FM in Fredericton. You know, if you want to talk to us about anything you hear in the program, we encourage you to do that. You can reach us via email, info@fredericton.cbc.ca. Well, Charles LeBlanc is not going quietly. Earlier this week, we played some tape of the clerk of the New Brunswick Legislature explaining why the blogger activist was banned from the building in 2006. Loredana Catelli-Saunier said the ban had nothing to do with what LeBlanc writes on his blog. She said it was because of complaints about LeBlanc's behavior from 6 people who work in and around the legislature. After we aired the clerk's comments, LeBlanc asked for the right to respond. He sat down with our provincial affairs reporter, Jacques Poitras.
I'm not the same Charles LeBlanc that I was. I used to go there to read the newspapers in the library, to check my email in the computer. I mean, I was always there. There's no question about it. Was I paying the butt? Sure. I mean, I'm not gonna deny it. And then in 2005, I got a job. Myself, as a contractor, hired me, and I worked for 4 hours. I was going to have a job inside the legislature, in the room, $10 an hour, put down a ceiling. And next thing you know, the contractor told me that he had to let me go because he said they don't like you in there. So I had a chance to make a living for 6 months, and then BCS said I didn't pass security clearance. So I mean, come on, I was in a tent for 6 months. They knew who I was. So that's where the trouble really began, when they stopped me from making a living. Now, after that started, then BCS, and I've been told by 4 different individuals, I would talk to somebody inside the ledge. Then BCS would arrive and say, is that man harassing you? Who, Charles? No. Then he went around and said, if you put a harassment charge against Charles, Charles will never find out. Sign these papers, we'll present it to the LIC committee, and I promise that Charles will never know that you put a harassment charge. Now, what is harassment? You could say hello to a person, and it could be harassment. The clerk said that I was taking pictures. I had my cameras in people's faces. That is an outright lie. Number one, I couldn't bring my camera inside the ledge. And I took some pictures outside. But I never had a video then. I only started this video 2 years after the ban. So the camera thing, I don't think so. This is foolishness. This is overboard because it's getting personal. And am I upset? Do I make fun of Dan Bichette in my blog? Yes, I do. Does Dan Bichette gets upset of stuff that's on my blog? Yes, he does. The clerk went to the CBC and told the Charles LeBlanc that I was such a rude and disgusting person. Well, maybe I still am, but that was 6 years ago. Why didn't they say anything 6 years ago?
What about, Charles, she said that you made personal insults to people's faces, you would throw the pass, the security pass when you were leaving at the commissionaires.
There was a problem. Everybody had problem with a certain guy, and I had problems with him. When I was working there for 4 hours, he was making fun of me. There was a personality conflict between me and this guy. I left, and I just throw my pass right on the desk. I didn't hand it to him face to face. He really gave me a hard time, and it was personal.
The clerk also said that you, on the steps recently, more recently, shoved or pushed a commissionaire.
Well, that is a complete lie. I mean, they got about 50 cameras outside of the ledge. Now, let's be honest, Jacques. If I would push a commissionaire, do you think me and you will be having this conversation? No. Dan Bichette came out, that episode, he accused me of pushing the commissionaire. I said, I never pushed nobody. As a matter of fact, Dan Bichette pushed me, and I got it on video. And the police are investigating this complaint that I made against NBC. And now, I mean, this is getting totally out of hand. This is hurting a lot of people. And all over foolishness. I think it's just a battle of the titans, and nobody really wants to get in.
Have you considered at all in the last week since your experience in jail and in court whether to moderate your approach or change your style at all?
Well, you know, Jacques, I mean, let's face facts here. I don't need to protest with a blowhorn outside. I have a very popular blog. I average 7,000 to 8,000 people a day. They're high-class people, powerful people. They read my blog. There's no question about it. Should I change my approach? I have ADHD, Jacques. I'm hyper. I mean, I can't change that. I wish my priest could perform an exorcism on me, remove the Scottish blood out of my system. That's another thing, because I'm so stubborn. I'm half Scottish. Me mother's from Glasgow, Scotland. I'm not going to use that as an excuse, but should I change my ways? Well, maybe not with a blowhorn, just stay in my blog. And hopefully, calmer heads will prevail, and we can settle this and move on.
That's Charles LeBlanc talking to our provincial affairs reporter, Jacques Poitras. Now, Mr. LeBlanc also disputes the clerk's statement that the ban had nothing to do with the content of his blog. He says one employee at the legislature was upset by a vague and indirect reference he made on his blog to her personal circumstances without identifying her. LeBlanc says he's been told that contributed to the ban, something the clerk has denied. We've chosen not to air that part of LeBlanc's interview to avoid identifying that employee. It's 5 minutes before 8 o'clock, and as always, we invite you to respond to anything you hear in Information Morning via email, info@fredericton.cbc.ca, or you can try me on Twitter. My Twitter address is @SEGUINCBC. Good morning.